It's alive!
So, we're not sure what we were going to talk about.
Well,
we were talking about some relationship stuff and
yes.
how to approach some hot button topics.
Yes.
And how relationship stuff, when you're in a relationship, if stuff is going bad or if it's not being the way you want it to be, that it's like a toothache. I said it's just always there. It's always on your mind and that sort of
the
stuff.
The pain doesn't go away.
Yeah.
No matter what you do.
And we were talking about communication in relationships.
Yes, the big one.
How important it is with your partner about stuff. Because like I was saying earlier, when I get love readings, because I do tarot readings.
You get a lot of love readings.
I get a lot of love.
Everyone wants love.
Of course, everybody wants love and wants acceptance and wants someone to come home to.
And a partner that's there for you.
Yeah, exactly. Or a good group of solid friends.
Yeah, sometimes people don't want romantic. Sometimes it's just a love in a different platonic way.
Yeah, platonic.
Yeah, I know. I realized as soon as I said, I was like,
platonic.
I was
confusing an ocean with putting a little water in there, which is a very relationship type thing. And there's lots of water.
Love is endless and wide like the ocean.
And it's the tears of my betrayal that fills the ocean.
Heartbreak, years of heartbreak.
But I often ask people, like,
salty, that makes sense.
You know, like, oh, he didn't know to do this, or she didn't know to say that, or whatever. And I often ask, did you tell them?
Yeah, people get surprised that you just have to tell people to do things for you.
Yes.
You have to ask people to do things.
Yeah, you do.
And that seems like a foreign concept. It's like you wouldn't expect to do something for someone if they didn't ask you. So why do you?
Yeah, and if you ask someone, that actually is a very courageous act, because what you're doing is, because a lot of times when we ask for stuff, we feel like we're being weak. So we have to overcome our ego, because it's our ego that says
gets
you're
in the
weak.
way.
Yeah. So by asking for stuff, or help or whatever, I know this tablecloth.
We have a tablecloth that keeps moving on us.
Exactly. So by asking, you're actually doing something very courageous, but you're also including your partner in a problem.
Yeah.
You're placing before them an act of charity that they can do, or anybody that you ask, a friend or whatever. Don't take that away from them, because that might be their salvation.
Yeah.
On the other side, they can say, I helped and blah, blah, blah. But if you don't give them that opportunity, when you go to the other side, you're going to be asked, why didn't you ask for that opportunity?
Why didn't you ask for some help?
Yeah, exactly.
We all need a hand up from time to time.
Yeah, it's like the guy on the roof in the flooding, and he says, God's going to save me. I have faith in God saving me.
Oh, but then it's like, but really, the boat is going to save me.
There's a boat, there's a helicopter, there's all kinds of things that come by. And he's like, no, I know God's going to save me. And then he dies.
It's like, well, God gave you many options.
And God says, why didn't you take the boat I sent you? Why didn't you get down the helicopter I sent you?
Yeah. I sent you a lot of things, and apparently none of them were to your standard.
Yeah, and we're dumb like that.
Yeah.
Because we think, no, it's supposed to happen this way. And it's like, no, not always. And
everyone does something a little bit different, or things come to you in ways that you don't expect. And are usually in the way you need them, rather than you want them.
Absolutely. 100%. And, like you see a goal in mind and we think it's a linear thing.
No.
But there's a lot of offshoots that we probably have to do. Maybe a few circles.
Yeah. You might backtrack a little bit, and then you get lost over here, and then you come back. And
exactly. I was just thinking of dogs doing zoomies.
Oh, yeah. That's a very good description.
That's what we need to do. And they say if your dog does zoomies, they're very healthy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It means they've got lots of energy, and their diet is good, and everyth's functioning the way it should.
They're normal.
So in life, if we're
doing the zoomies,
that means we're doing it right.
So if my children go crazy, they're doing the zoomies, I just have to be like, you're a healthy kid. Got it.
Healthy. There you go. Well, life is a dance. Like, you take 2 steps forward and 1 step back.
Yeah.
And you keep waltzing through life. And even when you're waltzing, you're not going in a straight line. You're sort of
going all over.
Yeah, exactly.
You usually have to take space.
Exactly.
Take space.
Yeah. Throw some elbows.
People often want to shrink themselves down and be the least bothersome person, and it's like, no,
Yes.
take up space.
Take up space and don't be shy
You
to
don't
do
be
it.
shy.
Yeah.
And like some people, when you ask them for things, are gonna say no, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That
That's
means they're not
okay.
meant to be in your life.
Yeah.
Maybe they weren't really there. You know, that's
Yeah.
a good way also to weed out who's truly there for you and who's not.
Yeah, exactly. If they say no, don't take it as a personal
No, it's
insult.
not. It's more says about them than it does about you.
Yeah, and it might be a saving thing for you
Yeah.
because they may have been a pain in the ass.
That's exactly it.
If they
Unless
had done
everyone
this for
drops
you.
around you, then if everyone's dropping around you, then I would start to maybe look
Yeah,
inside.
what's the common denominator?
If all of your friends are starting to leave, then I would take a moment and reflect and be like, okay, what am I doing? What
yes,
is like?
yes, yeah. What do I? Whoops! Almost spilled that, but I caught it.
She
I
got
have
it.
cat-like reflexes.
Yeah.
But it was my own clumsiness that started
Yeah,
it. So
I don't know.
they balance each other out. But yeah, like relationships of all kinds are about the communication and about asking. know,
Asking communication.
Because it helps the person. I know when my father died, like my mother died first, and people always say, if there's anything I can do, just let me know.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes that's just
That's
lip
just
service.
it's just like something you say to make people feel better.
Yeah.
I 100% have done it.
Yeah, exactly.
100%. I mean,
But
if
when
they did
my
ask, I
father-
would do something.
Yeah, when my father died, I did actually say to a couple of people, yeah, I mean, I could use this.
But, yeah.
And in that moment, because it's such a difficult moment when someone's lost someone they love
Yeah.
dearly, they were like, oh my God, okay, great. There's something I can
could
do
do.
to help make things
Yeah.
better.
It makes them feel better.
Yes.
like,
Yes.
really, you're really just doing them a favor.
In a lot of ways, yes.
Because,
Yeah.
like, I find that even with my husband, he's like, well, just tell me what you want because I want to
Yeah.
make you happy. Like,
Yeah.
tell me what you want.
Yeah.
Ask whatever it is that you want
Mhm.
because if it's what you want, I want to do it because that will make me happy. And the same thing with it. I'm like, well, just tell me what you want. Like, I
Yeah.
don't like, and whatever this area is, it doesn't matter to me. What you want matters more because I don't really care. So I'd
Right.
rather do what it is that you
Or
want.
if it is too, like, I do care about this.
Yeah,
And
and then you
there's-
can.
But there's like, okay, how can we figure this out?
You find compromises.
Yeah,
Or you find what
exactly.
you can do that makes you both happy.
Yeah.
And it makes you work together and then realize like, oh, we can work together. We can work through problems, especially if it's smaller stuff
Yeah.
to begin with.
Yeah.
Because it's a good way of testing yourself up.
Yeah.
And then when big things come, you kind of already naturally have that skill you've worked together,
Mm-hmm.
knowing you've problem solved when you haven't agreed.
Yeah. And like, you want to be like sunflowers. You lean in when the rain starts, right?
100%. That's a good way. I love sunflowers. They're my favorite.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. But they do that. They
They
help-
turn, they
they
turn
help
to each
shelter
other.
each other.
It's
And
so sweet.
and that's what, like, a lot of very dramatic things, like, for instance, God forbid, a child dies. That is a very huge cause for divorce in couples.
Yeah.
They usually can't survive that.
Yeah,
Because it is such a big thing.
it's a hard thing to get.
and unfortunately, for whatever reason, they couldn't lean on each other.
Yeah,
And
or maybe lean too much.
or
And
lean too much.
Sometimes the person needs space, and you need to bring in other people to help support.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. But there's big things like that in life that happen for couples, and are you leaning in? Are you leaning too hard? Like,
Yeah.
you don't want to be bending the
you wanna
sunflower.
you don't want to smother the other one. Smother you. Because
I'm leaning on you, trust fall.
Yeah, because that happens too. I think the opposite can happen too.
Yes.
You lean you get the codependent
Yeah,
relationship,
absolutely.
and then that either you're both codependent or one person's still codependent, and either you're smothering.
Both codependent. That's not good.
I was gonna say, if you're both codependent, that's really difficult because you're
just
smothering each
becomes-
other, but you still don't want to leave because they're of course
I just see us
codependent.
wrestling with each
Oh.
other. I'm
way.
leaning
That way.
harder. No, I'm leaning harder.
I will take you down with me.
It just gets to the floor, and you're just both, rolling around.
Yeah. Petals are everywhere.
Yeah.
Seeds are everywhere.
Exactly.
Still going with the sunflowers.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, so it's relationships are interesting.
Yeah, and remember, your partner is not a mind reader. Yes,
Yo,
they know you very well
100%.
and very intimately, but they are not a mind reader.
Yeah.
If you haven't told them what you want, they often cannot do what you want.
And then you get upset over a weird expectation you have placed in your brain.
Yeah, you've had a whole conversation in there.
Right in there. And I think it's hard because people don't like asking for things or like telling someone they want something.
Yeah.
Because it opens them up for rejection.
Yeah.
It's vulnerable.
Yeah.
You don't want to be bothersome.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, just don't want to be too much. I mean, all
That's
those
why
different
I say
voices in the head and the
It's a
back.
very courageous thing to ask for help.
Do you guys? Oh, I was just noticing.
Oh yeah, what are they saying? Anything?
Nothing nice.
Nothing nice?
Well, some person. It's Jamie. Jamie's here.
Oh, Jamie?
It's sideways. You didn't, I don't think, click the right direction for it.
Oh,
How do you?
I don't know.
I don't know how you correct it. You are the one that usually sets this up. But
Yeah.
it's sideways for everyone.
Oh, okay. Oh,
And
is
then-
it sideways? So we're like this?
I think when they're holding it, it's the wrong way. I don't think you picked the right direction.
Oh, because I kind of did it afterwards.
Can
and
you?
it paused it. Hello from Canada. Hi. Keys Rev. Kev's Rev. Kev's Rev, sorry. Oh, Jamie.
Yeah, I just said it was your sister. Well, my aunt.
Hi.
But she was the one that was saying it's a wonky.
Oh,
Turn
yeah.
the phone.
Okay.
I guess we could turn if you want, just change it, but then we won't both be in the frame.
Yeah. So I should go this way?
Yeah, and then you'll just have to put it back further, and we'll be more normal, but we won't both be in it. But that's okay. Well,
yeah.
kind
Yeah,
of in
we'll
it.
just squeeze in.
Yeah, it's all good. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being here, everyone. Even those that said mean things.
They said much better. See.
Oh, there you go. Yay.
I was even thinking, like, it doesn't look normal like this, but I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna keep going with it.
Yeah, I think I clicked the button to change the
Direction.
after I'd said
And
go
then,
live.
Oh, and it doesn't like that.
And I thought it had paused it and then let me do it, but apparently not.
No, that's all right.
We've learned something new today, boys and girls.
You've learned something.
I've learned something new.
I'm pretty sure I knew that. No, I'm joking. Throw you under the bus. I'm smothering you with my flower.
Sorry.
You weren't here before.
Oh,
We had.
the stem's about to break.
Yeah. For those that just joining, we had a whole sunflower
Analogy.
smothering, codependent. We're
Yeah.
talking about relationships.
And
the
good
time-
things to do in relationships.
Good things to do, or I guess bad things.
Yeah,
to do, or bad habits that people often have.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the number one people always like communication, and it sounds like a dead horse that you keep hitting, but it is so true.
Yes. Well, it's like in tarot readings, in loved ones, I get communication a lot.
Yeah.
In tarot readings, I get just straight ones. I get a lot of patience. Have patience. Let things unfold. Because we often want to micromanage things
and
right into the
rush it
ground.
and make it happen.
Yeah.
Now.
We're crushing the sunflower.
Yeah. Why won't you marry me right now? Why won't we have kids right now? Why don't you commit to me right now?
Yeah, exactly. And he should have known that I wanted to marry him.
Yeah. I put
Did you say anything?
Yeah. I mean, they do the hints, but like I
Yeah.
find some people are just not like I'm not.
But I find direct communication
You have to do direct.
is better.
I agree.
With diplomacy, of course.
Yeah, not being a jerk because
Yeah.
I'm not good with subtle hints. If you tell me something,
Me neither.
if you do subtle for me, I'm like, I'm right over my
Yeah,
head. You have
didn't
to be
pick up
like,
on any of that.
yeah, you have to be like super direct and tell me. I'm like, oh, cool, got it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I won't do that, or I'll do that for you.
I mean, I pick up on those hints when I'm doing a reading, for instance, or one of my sessions.
so
or
as long
something.
as it has nothing to do with you personally, you're
well,
very
no,
good at picking.
because I'm focused, right? But you can't stay at that level of focus
all the time. That's very tiring.
Yeah. So I mean, yes, you should be giving that kind of focus to your partner every once in a while.
Yeah.
Not all the time.
You can't do it all the time. That's not feasible.
But it's good to sit down and say, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
Tell me.
What's going on with your life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is there anything that I can do to help make it easier, smoother, better, whatever?
Yeah.
Right?
Or just listening to them. I do have to tell you, I know though just to do it in short bursts because I can't listen to him talk for him. It's not a him problem. It's a me problem.
Right.
Because if someone talks for too long, then my brain starts to be like, let's think about this
and
other
then
thing.
they become the Peanuts
Yeah.
teacher.
There's so many times where I'm like, I'm so sorry. I know you were talking to me, and I know what you were saying was probably really important, and I have completely ignored everything you just said. So I know it's annoying, but you're going to have to repeat that. He's used to it. I do that a lot. So he does have to make sure I look at him, and I don't have a glazed look in my eyes. Catherine, you awake, Catherine? Because like we'll just like tune them out, and I'm being unconsciously like, yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds great. And like I'm just like I'm not even listening. I'm just automatically responding.
Giving the cues when I
Yeah,
should be.
it's like the waiting music on phones, but instead of the music, it's just me going, yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Your complaint is very important to
Yeah,
us.
And usually it's not even complaint, just like him talking about his day and like venting.
Right,
And
right.
sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, and I'm like, wait, I'm just saying yeah, and I didn't hear anything you just
And
said.
another thing that reminds me of something that people do, because I've done this, is you're listening to the person, but you're not really,
Not actively
because
listening.
you're thinking about what you want to say.
Yeah, you're not actually taking what they're saying, and you're just like
Yeah.
waiting to apply the appropriate response.
And a lot of people have like, well, I want to get this out, or I'm going to hang on to this because I'm afraid of forgetting about it, right?
Something, if you want something, I feel directly asking. On other hand, sometimes you should just know, but asking never hurts if you do it kindly. That's true. I
Yeah.
feel like it's hard. I think if you're with someone for a really long time, like there's things, like being with Ian for 16 years, like there's some things like, oh, okay, I know he'd want this.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then, like,
of course.
But
of
the,
course.
yeah, but even still, like there's still times where like I didn't communicate this need to you.
Yeah.
That like, yeah, maybe it would seem like something you would think, but you get lost
Yeah.
in the day to day.
Obviously, and stress comes into it.
Yeah.
And you can get distracted by different things. You as a person, whether it's you or your partner, can change. too.
Yeah, you change as a person, you grow, life.
Like, he makes you coffee every morning. But
Yes, he does.
One morning you might wake up and go, I'm suddenly a tea person.
Yeah. Don't think that's ever going to happen, but
Probably
sure.
never going to happen, but it could.
Yeah, it does all boil down to communication. That's what you're saying. It's a bit of a dead horse, but
Yeah.
people always say it's communication, but it's true. It's 100% true.
Absolutely, because we don't even communicate with ourselves. Well,
No.
we lie to ourselves all the time.
Oh, yeah, we tell ourselves all kinds of things.
And they become what we think are
Our truths, which are not. It was just something you've told yourself. This monkey voice telling you all these things which aren't actually true.
And everything that we think about ourselves is an opinion.
Yeah. And usually someone else has told you that. It's something someone has told you that you've taken as truth or belief
Yeah.
about yourself, which isn't actually true.
But we also tell ourselves things like, when people say, oh, I'm so stupid because I can't learn this stuff, or
But I feel like that still stems from someone else. Like someone else told you that first and gave you that belief. Like maybe you didn't
that opinion
know
of
that.
you, and then
Maybe you didn't understand something, or maybe you asked a question that someone thought was dumb because you didn't understand.
Yeah.
And then someone's like, "Well, that's stupid. Why don't you know that?" So
Yeah.
then you've internalized that because someone has told you that about
Yeah.
yourself.
100%.
And so now,
that can have
and
a
then it
very
becomes
big
like
effect.
reaffirmed in other situations.
Especially
Now that when you don't
as
know
you've
something
grown
else,
up,
Yeah.
like if it's a teacher, a parent, even an older sister or brother, or an
Yeah.
aunt or an uncle can tell you something, and you're like, oh, I never knew that about myself, and now you believe it.
Yeah, now it becomes truth, which is
Yeah.
why it's important to, have self-confidence. And this person was just saying ego is a huge thing, and we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
That ego is a big thing.
We don't like to be open to being hurt, to being rejected, because our ego gets in the way.
Yeah, it's
and
too proud.
It is too proud, and it's sort of like you have to overcome and be okay with the rejection should it happen.
Yeah.
But take joy and take pride in the fact that you asked
Yeah. And
for something.
it's vulnerable to ask people for
yes, and be okay.
help. And that's okay to be.
yeah, and it's okay if they say no.
Yeah. They're
They-
allowed to say no.
They're allowed to say no,
And
but you have
sometimes-
to go in thinking they're allowed to say no.
And that's not usually for you. It's because of them. Like either
Yes.
maybe they don't have the space for it. Maybe they
Yeah.
or have a lot going on. Maybe they're just not that person for you, and they aren't able to do that. And maybe
Yep.
that's a sign that that friendship or that relationship, whatever it is, just doesn't serve you anymore.
yeah, and
Especially if it's a common occurrence. Like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
one-time thing, maybe don't be rethinking everything.
no,
but
I
if
can't.
it's a
You're
regu-
not my friend anymore.
but if it's a common occurrence,
yes.
it's a pattern of behavior that keeps happening.
Yes.
Then maybe there's a reason for that.
Yeah, and it's a great way to weed out friends.
It's
that aren't really
exactly.
your friends, because sometimes we hang on to people, and we're not sure why we're still hanging on to them. And not that they're horrible people necessarily. It's just they're not your people.
I think in those situations when people hold on to friendships, relationships, they're trying to usually relive something, like some type of
Oh yeah.
trauma or dynamic.
Or they're trying to grasp at a good time they had once with this friend and want to repeat that good time.
That too, but I think it's even deeper than that. Like I think it like boils down to like parental relationships of like
Oh yeah, a
and
lot do. A lot
and
do.
and more so just like if I can't give up on this person because oftentimes you pick people, friends,
that you want to
parents,
save. Yes.
yeah, friends, parents, even not even save, but just being like, maybe as an example, I don't have a good relationship with my father, so I'm picking a man who has similar attributes to my father unknowingly. You don't
Yeah,
always think
yeah,
about
you're not
that.
sitting
You're not
there
actively
saying that,
yeah.
yeah.
It's just like in your mind, unconscious part of you.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, if I can fix this, and I can,
Yes.
and we can keep this relationship, and then we can keep it going, and we have it, and
If I
it
can be
works out.
stronger and better in this
Yeah,
relationship,
then it doesn't prove that this was a failure over here, and there's nothing wrong with me, and there's no reason for why he rejected me,
yeah,
whatever. I mean,
whatever
that's
it might be.
yeah,
Yeah, and what's interesting I find is that a lot of people will make friends they want to be for life.
yeah.
And not every friend is a lifelong
I feel
friendship.
like 90% of my friendships have not been.
Yeah, sometimes
life.
they're just for a moment, as the
In a
song
phase
goes,
in
for
your
a
life.
season.
Yeah.
They're
you
there for
change-
something. Maybe like if someone dies and they're there at the wake and they're really supportive, but then you don't see them ever again.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
They were just meant to be there for that moment.
In your life. Yeah.
Yeah.
People get so focused on keeping people
Yeah.
to them, like very like clingy.
Yeah.
Like as if I have to have more. It's almost kind of like a drowning person.
Yeah.
And they grab for whoever.
Yeah.
But you start sinking other people. Doesn't mean you're like the problem and everything. But like if
No,
you're
no.
grasping at relationships.
But if you're not,
And-
if you're not willing to release relationships, it's not that they did anything horrible.
Yeah.
It's just you were meant to be with each other for a
Yeah.
moment, and you went away.
And if you're grasping at relationships and you're holding on to them and you're clinging onto them, then maybe there's something you need to work on inside.
Yeah.
That because ultimately you have to be there for yourself first.
Yeah.
And save yourself first.
Because that's the only relationship that is forever.
Yeah.
The relationship with yourself.
You gotta like yourself the most.
All
which
the
is
other
also-
relationships are going to end,
Yeah. It's true.
and they're going to morph.
Yeah, and evolve over time.
Yeah.
And sometimes some of them will leave, and that's okay.
Yeah, and that's okay.
But if you have if you struggle with that, I mean, it's never easy when a friendship or a relationship ends. It's not meant to be an easy thing necessarily.
I
Depending
don't
on
like it when they say my marriage failed. It didn't fail.
it run its course.
It's run its course, and maybe it wasn't supposed to be forever.
Yeah.
Like you go into it, hopefully.
Ideally, it's going to be forever. Ideally, don't want to get divorced.
I'm making a commitment to this person, but I don't think failure is the right term for when a marriage ends.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you get into it and you realize, no, this is
Not
the
well,
person
you
I wanna
change
be with.
life goals sometimes,
Yeah.
right? Like that's why friendships sometimes kind of phase out because you're in different stages of your life, or maybe you have different goals in life,
or you didn't talk about what the deal breakers were before you got married.
yeah, that's a big one.
Or you've kept some of them secret.
That's also a big one.
The whole kids thing, for instance, should be on the table. Do you want kids or no?
Yeah,
And if
it's tricky though too when it happens and then they change their mind. But
Yeah.
maybe I always feel like sometimes they've changed their mind. They always kind of knew they didn't want kids, but they were willing to compromise on that, and then realized after they didn't actually want to compromise
I had
on that.
a woman in for a love reading, and she said to her husband, because he didn't want kids,
Yeah.
that, oh yeah, okay, no problem. But she said, even before I got married, I was going in thinking I could change his mind.
Yeah, you can't change.
No,
Can't
you have to
change.
accept the answer for what it is and be okay
Take
with
it face value.
Yeah, and don't go in thinking I'm going to change it, I'm going to fix it, I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to do whatever, because it's not going to happen most of the time.
Most of the time. And if it does, then they're not going to be very happy.
Yeah, exactly. Can you read any of that?
Yes, they said wearing your heart on your sleeve, that's him, he said. And me and my
okay.
wife for 7 years, and ultimately we act like best friends. Yeah, I get that. Me and my husband been together for 16.
Yep.
And got 2 dogs and a kiddo. And it works with us because we were both homebodies.
Nice,
Sounds very
nice.
similar.
Yeah, yeah. My
Safety.
husband and I have been married 36 years.
And then Jamie said safety net or favorite blankie. It's true.
Yeah, it's good to have a good blanket.
I think that's what happens with the relationships too, though. Like
Yeah.
you have a safety blanket relationship where
Yes.
that you're not. People often stay in relationships because they're so afraid of being alone.
Yeah, yeah.
People don't like to be left with
I
themselves.
mean, let's face it. Financially, realistically,
it's too hard.
It's hard to be on your own. Like, you know,
You really can't. Not
some
not
some
easily.
marriages go to the roommate phase, as you were calling it.
Yeah.
And you know, you still get along. You don't fight, but you're more roommates than you are lovers.
Yeah, she was just saying you hold on to something because they give you the sense of a safety blanket, or
Yeah.
and it's 100%.
You're used to having the person around.
Yeah, you just kind of get used to their stink. No.
Yeah. And you know, if you have to break someone new in, that's like a whole big
To
project.
retrain them, and they have to get used to their annoying habits, and
Exactly.
it's just too much work. No,
Well, it can be. Sometimes
it can't.
you know, being familiar with someone, they say it breeds contempt, but it also breeds sort of like I don't want to check out of this because
I'm just comfortable where I am,
Yeah,
and
like-
I don't have any issues with.
yeah,
The
because I mean,
dynamic.
again, I do a lot of love readings, so I know it's a shit show out there if you're trying to date.
It's
It's like, oh my god, some of the
Glad I-
stories I hear, I'm like, really?
I know I've heard some not great things. I think online dating can be a positive, but it's also kind of a negative.
Yeah, yeah.
But I was talking to someone because they're like, well, like, you get a lot of bad hits. I'm like, well, if you think about it, it's like just chances of opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but on online dating, you're having so many opportunities.
Yes.
So of course you're gonna have way more rejections or bad experiences because your level of opportunities are a lot higher. If you're meeting
Yeah.
someone more
And
organically,
everyone on there is putting their best foot forward.
yeah.
So
just
it's
a
not always
facade.
realistic.
Yeah, it's just
you
a
know?
facade, and most people aren't there for relationship.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
everyone has like a few people they knew that like, oh, we met online and we're so in love, and then they're married and they have kids, and
Yeah, yeah.
right. But that's like I don't feel like necessarily the norm,
Yeah,
and it's like it takes a while, and I feel like I saw this person who was like dating advice was kind of saying like it's kind of better just you hear this all the time like when you stop looking that's when you find it, and I
Right.
think that's true. I
Yeah.
think it's one of those things like you focus on yourself and you focus on dating yourself
and you
focus
start
on
to, romance yourself.
you won't, yeah.
And you start to attract in the kind of person you want.
And you're not settling for whoever just comes and is warming up your bed because you don't want to be feeling lonely at night.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
doing it because like, well, I'm comfortable and I am who I am.
Yeah.
I can be by myself and that's okay.
I'm
and that
having
doesn't
you here because I want you here, not
yeah,
because I need
you here. And that's a better way of having a relationship.
Absolutely. But that's a hard pivot for a lot of
it
people.
takes a long time. It takes
'Cause
a long time.
A lot of times people don't even see that they need to pivot.
Yeah. No, I think it's just normal. Well, I think it's because it's normal in
remember,
society to see those
I had a
comfortable-
lady that came in and she was like almost $20,000 that she had given out
Oh, right.
to different men, and and she's like, why am I attracting these kind of guys? It's like because you've got sucker written across your forehead. You know,
Poor woman.
Yeah, I know. I felt so bad, and I was trying to get her to see that.
It's like,
But
just spend that $20,000 on yourself. Go on a nice vacation. Go to a really fancy spa.
Sink it into my
Yeah.
business.
Or invest it. I mean, you're not getting any younger, lady. Invest
Yeah.
it for your retirement or something.
Yeah, well, she was already retired.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
poor woman.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, first of all, don't give anybody money. Stop doing that.
Stop giving people money that you don't know.
Yeah.
Some Nigerian prince.
But I'm amazed at like the number of like I know there's scammers out there all the time.
There's a lot of people who scam, especially on the relationship thing, because that's an easy.
Yeah, but
way
on
to
the
get
first
people.
and second conversation, they're already asking, and these people are just like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
It's still ringing. Okay, I'm just gonna go for a minute, and then we'll be done.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
a really fancy ringtone.
I know, isn't it? It builds up and builds
It's
up.
up and goes and goes and goes.
Crescendo.
So yeah, a lot of my old friends are still attached to their exes from high school and are not moving on. It It affects his relationships because he's still thinking of his ex. That's another one people do. They put like
Yes.
that one person, especially like if it's a first love, I think. Or like
Yes.
whatever
Yes.
like the highlight relationship of their life is, they put that person on a pedestal and no one meets that person's, but like ultimately that person probably wasn't good for you because they're an ex for a reason.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Right.
Like,
But I find a lot of times you hang on to people, especially if they've rejected you.
yeah, that's
You
true.
know, it's like, but I'm still in love with you.
I can fix who
Or,
I am so I can
yeah,
like you can want me
I'll
back.
change myself so that you'll want me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, best to probably just move on.
Yeah, yeah. The other are usually toxic too, because he was just saying like
Yes.
it's usually your first love. He usually say I was right, and then toxic.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
lots of, and you don't see it though because you think you're so in love with this person. It's like no, you
Yeah.
weren't.
Especially when you're young and it's your first.
It's your first. So you get like
Yeah.
this weird attachment, and you
Yeah.
don't let it just be like this is what it was in the moment, and
Yeah.
it was fine. But learn from it, and then you move on, and you take that knowledge of that relationship or that person and put it onto the next relationship to improve yourself for the next one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And
ideally,
again, the other thing that I find too is a lot of people, I call it, they paint the new lover with the old lover's paintbrush.
yeah.
So if the guy cheated on you, or if the woman
Oh yeah,
betrayed you in some way,
the
you,
sins of the other goes on to the new.
you visit those onto the new because you're looking for signs that they're cheating or that
Well,
they're
and also you just
whatever.
want to have someone. You're still angry,
Oh,
so you're
yeah.
wanting to like you want to put that on the other person.
Yeah.
Like I didn't resolve this issue. Like I didn't heal myself enough to be in an actual relationship, and so because I'm not healed and because I can't hash it out with the person who acted this to me, I'm going to do it to you because this is
Yes.
who you are and you're opening yourself up to me and I'm going to let myself do this to you.
Yes.
Even though they've done nothing wrong, they
Exactly.
haven't warranted that, and maybe they haven't broken your trust and whatever the situation is. And it's just like that's also really messed up dynamic.
Well, yeah, and there's a lot of ego there because I often, and it's women who tend to do this, of I don't let anyone in. You know, it's like I understand healthy boundaries, very
Yeah.
good, but you don't need a prison wall with barbed
Yeah.
wire.
It doesn't mean like you can't. It doesn't mean
Guards on the watchtower.
doesn't mean you have to let everyone in, but it is good to be like, okay, I have my walls up. Do that first date. It's okay to have
Yeah.
full walls on
Absolutely,
first
'cause
few
you
dates.
don't know who
You
this
don't-
guy
it's
is
a
or woman
stranger
is
to
or
you,
whatever,
unless like
yeah.
it's a friendship, then
Yeah,
turning
yeah,
into
yeah.
into love, which I think is the best way to do a
It
relationship.
is, yeah. You want to be friends with the person you're going to spend your
Well,
life
because
with.
yeah,
Or that you plan to
it's
spend
better
your
to
life
be
with.
fun. You want to be best friends, ideally,
Yeah.
with the person who you.
And
are
I
with.
always say, like, if you can get through the deal breakers, like the two big deal breakers are traveling and renovations. If you can get through that with
Building
your partner,
furniture.
yeah, building furniture, things like that. If you guys can get through that, you can pretty much get through anything. Because my husband, your father,
Yeah.
and I travel really well. We don't freak out, or if one's freaking, the other one's not, and we're able to
Yeah, we'll
kinda-
balance each other.
Yeah.
Sienna's good. He's like a rock. He's solid.
Yeah.
He just like nothing.
And he doesn't let a lot of things phase
Oh
him.
God, no! Which is so great because I'm the opposite, especially when we're traveling. I'm like so like, and he's like, it's okay.
You
We'll
come by it honestly.
I know. And he knows that about me. So he's just like stable and consistent, and I'm just manic.
We're a family of berserkers.
Yeah. And like, but it's okay though, because there's also, I'm over planner. So he sometimes doesn't plan enough. So it's like, okay, if he's forgotten, so it's like, don't worry, I have it all planned
It's
out.
a little too go with the flow sometimes.
He's like, yeah. So there's like, all right, yeah. Like he's gotten better over the years, of course, as you
Yeah.
get as mature.
Yeah.
And so now I find we've balanced each other more, and now
You're at
I'm
the
like,
airport, he's like,
we've taken
I don't
aspects
have my
of
passport. What?
no, we've taken aspects. He's not as that bad.
No,
but
no, no.
sometimes he
It's
can.
just funny. Like if people show up and
Oh my
he's
God.
like, I'll just talk to them and tell them I've got a
Yeah.
passport.
I could say like past
And I can
Ayanda doing that.
totally
Past
see it
Ayanda.
doing
Past Ayanda, like high school Ayanda, 100%. And I'd be like, what is wrong with you? It'd be like, immediately send me into a tailspin.
Yeah, exactly.
There was definitely some
I'm
fun.
freaking out over here.
There's definitely some fun dynamics and situations that have occurred in their very unique way of doing
your whole
stuff.
story about your ID still
Oh
kills
my
me.
god.
It's so hilarious.
It's fine, I don't berserk like that
No,
anymore.
you
but
don't. But
and
it's
he was so calm through the whole thing. He was
because
like,
you're like, okay, you're calming yourself down.
I tried to calm myself down. You tried to soothe yourself like a baby, and then you
Yes.
whoof, all over again.
It's like, okay, so where's the ID? I don't know.
No. I did I ever tell you though, like later on, weeks on later, the person, like some random person messaged me and said they found my ID.
Oh,
But that point I'd already gotten a new one. And I was like, oh my god. I didn't even respond because I'm like, I don't need it. I don't need it.
exactly.
Oh.
Oh my goodness.
No, but now I find now we have meshed together well. Like he
Yeah.
is more, because I'm such an over preparer.
Yeah.
He's learned to be more over prepared, and
Yes.
that's helped him. But he's
And you
also,
bite off more than you can chew.
oh,
You come by that.
100%. I've learned through him to like
We
minimize
create
that.
our own stress.
We do, and I acknowledge it. I'm like, I know I've caused my own problems. He's like, I know, and he's like, this is why I got some of the stuff for you, so you'd have it ready for you. Like he already
that's so
preemptively
sweet.
thinks. He's like, I know, honey. And I'm like, oh, you're so amazing. But he's also made me more chill because I'm like more relaxed. So I don't feel like as
'cause
stressed.
He's like a crystal. He rubs off on
Oh
you.
yeah, exactly.
You know?
He
There's
is.
something new up there. I'm not sure what it says.
My wife is still need bug to get her. Still bugs me to get her to fully open up. And the
okay.
water to your boat. You are like people. You are like the people you're around the most. That's 100. Yeah,
Yeah.
you definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
you mirror the people who are around you.
And hopefully you mirror the good
aspects.
aspects as opposed to the. Luckily, he didn't pick up on your berserking. So.
No, it takes a lot to get out into, and when he does finally reach that level, it's so scary.
Yeah.
But it like he's only done it like a few times in our 16 years of being together.
Right.
So it takes like so much to get him to that.
He definitely has
just
patience
in
in spades.
yeah, he's an ocean wide of
Yeah.
patience. Like
Yes.
it's so deep. So
It's
deep.
funny because there's aspects of him that remind me of my father.
I can see that because sometimes he does. I can see that he does sometimes remind me of Grandpa.
Yeah, because he's very friendly. He's got the gift
He's
of
very
the gab,
he's got
which
the
Grandpa had,
and he's very
spades.
social. People remember him. He's very memorable.
Yeah.
People tell him stuff all the time.
Yeah, and my dad was very much ocean waves.
Yeah, he's
and
very
rejection didn't bother
he
him.
has no qualms, and like I know he does feel anxious about, but he would never get it about. He's like, well, I
Yeah.
do feel that way. I'm like, well, you don't show it.
No,
he's
not at
very,
all. Not at
very.
all. And my dad was like that, right? Like,
Yeah.
very much.
Just
Okay.
I know he's like smoothed out my edges.
Yeah.
his constant wave. It's the he's a cuss, right? He's a Cancer, a Leo cuss,
Oh,
and I find
I
especially
was
in our
gonna
relationship
say,
dynamic,
he's
he's
very
very Cancer.
Okay,
Where-
that explains a lot.
Yeah, so he's very Cancer in our relationship,
Yeah.
which I always tell him.
And
like,
we're talking the zodiac sign, not the illness.
Yeah, yeah. He does not have Cancer. My
No.
husband's very healthy.
Yeah, so he's got some cancer in him.
I like
of
him, but
course.
I don't know him. He's a very likable person.
He
I think
is. There's nobody
I was
that
to say,
meets him that doesn't like him.
people usually meet him one time, and then if I ever bring up his name, he has a unique name. When you meet him the one time, they're like, "Oh, I know your husband. He's a great guy."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't even know who you are, but that's awesome. I like him too. That's
And
why
his mom's the same way.
Yeah, she's very.
You drop her name and they're like, oh, I know her.
Yeah, they're very just likable, memorable people.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
know.
Yeah. The only thing is she's always late.
Oh, that well,
and
yeah.
she's always very late. She's never like a few minutes
No,
late.
she's super late. See, that's something I just worked on because he was never as bad as his mom, but he
Yeah.
was a little late, and that drove me crazy. But we've balanced out now because I was always early, but almost too early.
Oh,
So
okay.
then now we've balanced each other out. So now when he's like, "Okay, we should go," I'm like, "No, it's fine. We've got." I'm like, when did this change? I'm like, "Yeah, it's fine.
You're
We'll
the
get
one
there.
going, yeah, we
We'll-
got time.
We'll get there when we get there. Don't
Well,
worry."
that's something I've had to sort of work with too, is that because I can't move as fast as I once did, I've had to get patient.
Yeah.
Patience again with myself, and go.
That's a
okay,
hard thing to do.
We're just gonna do this one thing at a time. Like for instance, I came out today to the car and I still have the tea party dishes in the car, but I had them in the seat you were gonna sit in.
Oh,
so I
so you
didn't
had to
move
move
them.
it.
And old me would have been, fuck you.
I could have moved it for you if you left it there.
No, it's fine. But it's like, okay, it just will take a minute.
Yeah, I just have to
And
take
you
it.
just, you know.
Yeah, you find the things that used to piss you off. You're like, no, it's fine. I can figure this out.
Yeah.
It's like there's not a
I'll get
big
there when I
deal.
get there. And,
Exactly.
you know, everything got done.
Yeah.
Like I was stressing about that thing that I had to put in the mail.
Oh yeah.
But, you know, and I
It
was like,
got
oh, I
done.
got to get gas and then I got to get coffee. And
But we did it all this morning.
We
and
did
it
it
was no
all.
problem. Only had to wait a little bit for the cashier to check us through.
yeah. Oh my God. Yes, we went to Rexall. I should tell the story on Tarot Delights because Kayla loves my grocery store stories. So we're standing in line. So I'll tell it again on Tarot Delights.
Yeah, twice.
That's right. So we're standing in line. You only had a couple of
I had
things that
two
were
things.
super on sale.
Yeah, I couldn't pass them up.
And we're the next one at the cash. But this woman is talking about the card that they had that will get you points.
Yeah.
And giving her the inside scoop.
Yeah, I
about
think like
everything.
the Rexall card or something.
Yeah, and it was, and I'm not kidding. It was like she was talking to this person when we went back to the post office.
Yeah.
And then we came up, and she was still talking with the same person.
Yeah.
And
we
we're
were still waiting a few minutes.
we're in line. We can't use the self checkout.
Yeah, because I had a special, like the item I had a special coupon, and then when I tried it, like, oh, you can't do it in self checkout. You have to use the cashier. I'm like, oh, of course.
And I said something a little louder than I probably.
You were getting a little annoyed. She was getting a little Karenish. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
But not terrible.
No, I said,
justified Karen, I think.
I said to you, try the self checkout because this conversation isn't going to end anytime soon.
Yes.
And the cashier heard me say that because I knew she would.
Well, yeah, it was a really long conversation. At first, I didn't even realize they were talking about something specific to do with the card. It just sounded like a conversation.
The transaction was done.
Yeah.
And they were just chatting now. Right?
Yeah.
And
then she even ended up being stopping her while she was cashing me out. She's like, oh, there's something else I want to tell you. I'm like, this poor woman's never going to leave the store.
Yeah, right?
You're stuck with her forever. They said, I learned it takes, if it takes less than 2 minutes, just do it or you'll never get done. 100%. I saw that recently. If you can do something in 2 minutes, do it. And that's the best piece of advice. I heard that somewhere recently. And I do that all the time now. Like, if it's just going to take me 2 minutes, just do it.
Yeah.
If it takes me 2 minutes, I'll just do it.
Yeah. Or just spend 2 minutes doing it.
Yeah.
Like if it's dishes or something.
Or if it's going to take more than the 2 minutes. But
just
more,
get them started.
most tasks that you're looking at, they're like, oh, I need to do this, takes you
way shorter than you think.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I do that with Ian. I'm like, if it just takes you this much time.
Yeah.
Well, that's all you need to do. I know you're busy, but just takes this much time.
Because really when you do all the dishes, it really just took you 5 minutes.
5 to 10 minutes.
Hand washing, that is.
Yeah.
Because especially if you don't let them build up.
Yeah.
You know, there were times when I would let them build up. But
Dishes.
Even if you just do 6 dishes, that's
dishes,
6 more clean dishes you have.
Exactly. At least you now have dinner figured out.
Yeah. Exactly.
At least
you can work
house.
around the other stuff.
I know. I just always on that because he's more of the dishwasher than I am. Because I cook. I don't like to clean after.
Fair.
But he's like,
you cook for your dinner and he cleans for his dinner.
Yeah, and then, but it always seems like he's like they just keep adding. I'm like, that's what happens.
Yeah, dishes is a never-ending job.
I know. It's like the most.
It's like laundry.
It is like laundry. I don't
even
even
when
do
I've
my
done
laundry.
all my laundry and then I'm getting undressed and changing for bed, I'm like, oh damn, just this one thing needs to go in the laundry, and I had an empty basket for all of 3 hours or whatever. Right?
I know. You're like, oh, I know. That's exactly. We just did a bunch of laundry recently, so our big laundry pile is emptied out. And I'm like, oh, this is so nice. It's so empty. And then all of a sudden, it was like, oh, all this new clothing in here. I'm like, where was this?
And underwear
where was this a minute ago?
Yeah.
Like before we brought the laundry
Or what's
out.
even worse is when you find some socks that you didn't include in the laundry. You're like, damn it.
Exactly. They're like, it's hard to interrupt a conversation even when you're waiting or in a rush. 100%.
Yes.
And I'm the type of person that's to go out. I'll just wait. I'm nice that way.
Yeah.
Unless
but the cashier was not acknowledging us.
No, it wasn't
all.
even I'll just be with
aware.
You a moment.
Yeah.
Nothing. It was kind of rude.
It was
kind of rude. And I feel like as Canadians we tend to be overly polite.
Yeah.
So you're always give everyone the benefit of the doubt. And you're like, okay, I'll wait. It's fine. It's okay. Because even after she's like, I'm sorry about that. It's like, it's okay. When really I'm like, it's not okay.
Well, the customer apologized and the cashier said, oh, I'm so sorry. And I said nothing.
Yeah, you didn't say anything. It really got you off. Although
first of all, it's not okay. And I'm not going to...
No, they're Canadian too. So you get it. You get it.
But I'm not going to say it's okay when it's not okay.
Yeah.
I think standing by my truth.
No, that's okay. I had that moment at the dollar store, Dollarama.
Okay.
Because, like, me and I were buying a bunch of stuff, and we are doing the self-checkout because that's basically all they have.
Oh, yeah,
and then on the program, you could use skip bagging. So I'm like, okay, well, we didn't pay for the bag yet. So I was like, well, we'll just put it in the bag, and then we won't have to redo it, and we'll just skip bagging, and then we'll pay for the bag. And then the person came like, well, you can't do that. You can't skip bagging. I'm like, what do you mean you can't skip bagging? It's right on the effing thing. It says, no, you're not allowed to do that.
Well, then don't put it as a button.
I was like, then why is it on the thing to say skip bagging? She's like, no, you have to put it on the thing so we can see. I'm like, there's a camera, a big ass camera that can see me scanning the items, putting them in the bag. You have other cameras in the store. You are actively watching me do this.
Yeah.
I'm not stealing anything. I got so fucking pissed off. I'm like, I am going to write an email. Like, I went full Karen. I was getting so, I kept being like,
I'm writing a terse email.
I got so angry. I just like, it's okay, Catherine. I'm like, it's not okay.
If I want to skip bagging, I will.
I was getting so mad. I'm like, if they didn't want us to skip bagging, then why put the fucking button?
Why have it as an option?
I was so effing mad. I was like, there's not a lot that gets me pissed off. I usually pretty patient, but like, no, not today.
Today, I'm dying on the hill of bags.
Yeah. It's like, no, you have to put it on the thing. I'm like, so I was like, so you want me to put it on the thing, so then I put it in the bag. She was like, yeah, that's what you do. That's policy. I'm like, it's clearly not. The button's there.
Yeah. So they wanted you to put it on the weight thing.
Yeah.
And then you can put it in the bag?
Yeah, she like, so you know how you usually have like the spot where you put it on the scale?
Yeah.
And then she's like, no, you have to put it all on the thing. You can't just, put it on there. Like, you can't put it in the bag.
Because the bag will add weight or something?
Well, she's like, she was just basically like, we weren't even putting it in the bag. We just held the bag.
Oh, okay.
And then we were putting it into the bag just from the things. I'm like, well, there's no point putting it, because it never stays on the thing, because they're not very big, and we have a bunch of stuff.
But if you take something off, the machine
and then
will
it gets all angry.
Yeah.
And so like I was like, just hold it.
And then the machine becomes a Karen.
Well, that's exactly. So I told him like, just hold it, and when I scan it, I'll put it in the thing, and we just skip it. That way, once we're done, we can just leave.
Yeah. No, they don't make it that easy.
And then she had to come in and be a jerk, and I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not happy with this at all. She said,
and they don't give you all the cashier shortcuts, right? Like if you have two of something, I'm gonna ring this in. And
it's like, I was a cashier. I can do this. I'm not trying to scam you. I always give myself 5 stars when I do. Like, can you point? I'm like, 5 stars because I scanned myself and I'm fabulous. They said, Zachary said we all have Karen in us sometimes. 100%. We all have Karen moments.
Yes,
I definitely have moments.
And some of us are justified and some of us are
not. Some are not. I usually find that when I am getting Karen, I feel I think
always feel justified.
You always feel justified. But I do think I was justified in that moment. Because there was no reason. Why is the button there? You're just, it just felt like one of those.
My way is better.
Well, it just feels like one of those moments that like someone who feels like they had to put power, so they just say, well, that's policy.
Right.
And they just like,
yes.
As if like, I don't know.
The gatekeeper of all the rules.
Do you think we're going to steal? Like, do we look like the type that will steal? Like,
yeah, exactly. I mean, if you don't want theft, then do the job.
Yeah.
You do the job.
Yeah, why are you putting on, I mean, I get they can't control that aspect of it, but it's still, he said they do use it to make sure that people don't buy two something for the scale. That's true. They do that. Mm-hmm. And there is a reason for the scale, but don't have the button skip bagging.
Yeah.
And it's like,
but
you also have a big ass camera too.
When you have watching 6 of something and you have to ring that through, put it on the scale. Ring that through, put it on the scale. It's just like, okay.
Especially because it's like, they don't make it very big, and when you're at the
dollar, it overly
it's
simple.
So small too. The weight scale.
It is.
So when you're, especially at the dollar store,
I've had it so it's overflowing.
Well, at the dollar store, you're buying a boatload of shit.
Yeah.
Most of the time. I mean, not everyone.
It's Costco.
Yeah, 100%. So, like, sometimes I'm in there and I'm only buying a few things. Not a big deal. But most of the time, I have a whole ass
I'm
cart.
loading up. I'm like, what's new in the art department? What's new in the, the sock department?
Buying, gifts there for the kids' parties.
Yep.
And, or, getting things for the kids for holidays.
Yes,
or, household stuff or who knows whatever you're getting there. it starts to fill up,
It does.
it's not going to fit on that cart.
You think you're just going in for a few things, but you walk out with a cartload
And
of
like
stuff.
the stupid thing is, you're recording us. You're
Yeah.
recording us. So what do you mean? You're recording us. You can see.
Oh my goodness! Yeah.
Yeah, they said they feel like they every time they're in the store, they feel like they think they're gonna steal, even though they're an honest person and never would.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and again, if you don't trust your customers, put more cashiers out.
Well, that's exactly it. Well, that's like Walmart. When you go in Walmart, it's pretty much all self-checkout. I mean, they have some lanes, but not as many as they used to.
Yeah.
But then they have like, big gates to get in and big gates to get out, and you feel like you're going through some prison yard to get to go. I just
Walmart wanted to start to check your receipts.
Yeah, I heard that, but people had a big uproar.
Yeah.
And I think it's a bit different because
Costco can't.
Costco can't because you sign it. It's you're a member, so you sign
saying yes, I agree to.
Yeah,
this.
so it's a bit different because it's like, and whatever, who cares? It's just part of Costco. But if you're going to a big other store where I haven't paid a membership, you can't just stop me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Stop and frisk.
Especially if I'm serving myself. I'm serving myself.
Yeah, exactly. I did your job.
You just watched me do it. What are you doing?
Exactly. Oh, how are you contributing to this transaction? The answer is you're not.
My mom wouldn't care when they added the self-checkouts, telling the cashiers it's taking their jobs. It is, though. There's fewer cashiers in some ways because you only really need 1 to 2, depending on how busy it is, at the self-checkout. Like Walmart usually has 2, sometimes depending on how busy. They'll have 1 on each end. Like 2 on each block.
There's always one of us monkeys that need help.
Oh, well, and sometimes some of them make it tricky. Some of them, like...
Yeah.
Oh, I like going to Food Basics, and the new Food Basics, they made the self-checkout so small. And I'm like, you built this new, knowing there was going to be a self-checkout here.
Yeah.
Why did you make it so tiny to get through?
Yeah.
Anyways, but every time I scan through there, I always have an issue. I'm like, I was a cashier. I only do self-checkout because I hate talking to people, and I don't want to make small talk. So I'm a pro at self-checkout.
Right.
And I have an issue every time I use your self-checkout. This is not a me problem. There's something...
I'm smart, and I know how to read. I'm literate.
Yeah. I have a degree. I am a university graduate.
Get these bananas to scan.
Well, it's usually always something weird, and it's like
something that they don't know where it is right away on the store, right? Like,
it drives me crazy.
This special baking powder that's only on the 3rd shelf, and
every time I go to Food Basics, it seems to be when they're busy.
Of course it is.
And then they only have 1 cashier open,
right?
And then they have all the full checkout, the self checkout. And then there's only 1 attendant for the self-checkout. And
I've seen it where there's only 1 cashier. She's also looking at the self-checkout.
Oh my God, that's even worse.
Yeah.
They do that at Michael's, but at least Michael's, They
really push the self-checkout at Michael's hard.
I like the self-checkout. That doesn't bother me. I've had some people be like, I can cash you out. And I'm like, no, thank you.
I can't if I want to use my card.
Oh, see. Oh, yeah. I need to renew mine. Yeah. So I don't even bother. But they should make you be able to do that.
I know.
But I guess you have to verify
you can say it is like, I've got my card, and then they're notified whoever the attendant is.
Oh, and then they have to verify.
And they have to come in and
check and do the whole code
just
or whatever.
Give me your code and I'll do it. Because half the time they don't even know what they're doing.
No.
Right? It's like, let me fill it out. I'll fill it out faster.
I remember doing that. At least when I was a cashier, I knew what it was. So it was really easy for me to, I get exactly what it is that you need me to do here.
Yeah, exactly.
I started doing delivery from Walmart. It's great because it's like $5 more, but they give you crap fruit. So we only use it for products that are all the same. Yeah. You do a lot of, I know you do a lot of groceries.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, for a lot of times for the heavy stuff, right?
Yeah, well, that's what Alicia was saying. She does the same thing, and she says she usually gives them a good tip because she's like, I know it's heavy. I'm asking you to carry heavy stuff.
Exactly. And also too, like some of these guys, I don't believe how much they will carry up. Like the old, I'm not leaving a grocery bag behind. But it's like, are you crazy? Like,
I still do that.
And they don't have like wagons or anything. Like the smart ones do.
I was gonna say you have to have a wagon. You have to have a wagon.
Most of the women that do deliveries have a
wagon.
Wagons, and they're smart about it.
I mean, I guess then I could just be like, "This is my weightlifting." Yeah, but I feel like after a while, that's gonna be hard. And if you're not taking care of your body, and if you're not warming up your body and resting it, you're gonna damage something.
Because as a young person, it's nothing to do that, but you will pay the price eventually.
Yeah, it saves you 45 minutes of trying to push around a kid out. Yeah, that's helpful for that.
Yeah, I love Instacart.
And it saves you money because kids always want to buy something when they're out. Yeah. I always spend more when the kids are with me.
Oh, yeah, you spend... Well, actually, it evens out because, like, when you're going through the Instacart list, you'll be like, oh, that looks good. Yeah, let me try some of that.
Despite the fact that I did do Instacart driving, I never had actually used the app. Actually, I think I did use it once when I desperately needed something and I was out or at work. And he's like, just Instacart it. And I did it the one time because I also got like a super good sale because they're like, first time customer, you don't need to like pay. I was like, okay, one time. And I got like 3 items or something.
And sometimes grocery stores will have deals.
Yeah.
And if Uber Eats will sometimes do groceries and pet supplies and stuff.
Wagons are a must have.
Yeah. And it saves me a bunch of time because I'm cleaning while I'm listening for the Instacart, this is out of stock. Do you want this instead?
See, but I agree though, because sometimes you do, like, if you get the right person, like when I did it, I was always really mindful. So I was like, always got good quality stuff. So I'm like, well, I know if I'm shopping for myself, I would want good quality stuff too. But yeah, I agree. You don't want to do it for produce because they always seem to just pick the first thing and they don't care.
No, they do. That's absolute. I buy my own produce. Because then I'm picking it out, right?
Exactly. They said they did the same thing. They get a bunch of new food because they go through the app as well and see, oh, I didn't even know they carry this.
Exactly.
I use
I have never used this. Let me buy it.
I actually use Instacart to determine what stores have the things I'm looking for. Like, obviously, it's not always 100% perfect, but like, I'm looking for like a unique ingredient, or if I'm looking for something specific, I'm like, what store has it?
Yes.
And like, what am I
and what price range am I looking at?
What am my price range? What place has more of what I'm looking for? Or what's the rough price of it so that I can write it down, have a slight budget.
I've done that. Like, I've gone on the Food Basics and Instacart, and I'll put my grocery list in. Be like, oh, it's gonna be about $140. Okay,
that's a smarter way. I go like individually, and like I just look at my thing, and then I write it down like an old lady.
And then Instacart's like, you forgot to cash through.
Oh my god, yeah. I saw you looked at this. More of your favorite items that you were looking at have come on sale. I don't know. I was just looking at that one time. I don't need it. It's fine.
I've decided I don't like it.
Yeah, I bought it somewhere else. I'm sorry. Because I've been looking for like those mini brie bites that were really popular for a while.
Okay.
And then they didn't have for a while. And I just recently looked them up again.
Okay.
And other places do, because people will like roast them like on a barbie, like or like on a fire. I have like a little, I know more
like a fondue kind
like
of
a fondue, and it just looks really good. Anyways,
yeah,
I wanted it.
It's like a cheese s'mores.
Exactly, and I got me a little s'more machine.
Oh, so I was looking at one. I almost bought you one.
Can you tell what I like to eat? Anything I can melt on a stick.
Yeah. If there's fire and melty, gooey things involved,
I'm all over it. I know. Well, you got me one, and I'm like, this is so good. I told him, like, I really want to do the mini breeze. I want to roast the mini breeze. Like, I finally found them. We have to go get. They're kind of expensive though. You get 5 or 6 mini breeze for like $10.
Whoa,
and I don't feel like the mini breeze would add up to like a brick.
Yeah,
or not a brick, but like a wheel.
The bigger one that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a little pricey, but special occasion.
Special occasion, yeah. Because I told him, like, I want to do a food date. I want to eat food and
eat food
and do something.
And have you nearby?
Yeah, have you just near me while I eat my food that I want, and we can call it a date because I want to get fancy mini breeze and other things.
Yep.
I think it's because Easter's coming up, so now I'm like, ooh, Easter holiday food.
Yeah. Yes,
I have to plan my Easter. I do have my meat though.
Next week when we're on, we'll have Easter wear.
Yes.
We'll be in our Easter season.
Yes, we already have eggs.
And we can talk about relationships with family, because a lot of times people see family on Easter. Not as much as Christmas, but some families.
Especially if you're religious.
With the Easter presents. Like, Easter used to be the egg hunt.
I've seen
and
that
now
more.
it's like, now
I've
people are getting
some
presents.
I've seen some. I think it's particularly more popular in the States.
Yeah. Hopefully
Sorry there. I apparently clicked onto the phone call instead of getting rid of the phone call. Um, what was I saying? I find it's more common because some of the, like, I'm not on them anymore, but a lot of the mom groups I was on before, parent groups I was on, of course, it was like heavily swayed towards the States.
Right.
Because, of course, there's more people
There.
there.
Yes. Yep.
And that I found that's where you saw a lot of the people with, like, it was almost like a second Christmas. And I do get the kids some gifts, but it's usually like
Well, yeah.
chalk, bubbles. This
Yeah.
year we're thinking about either
If you got a new bike, it was at Easter.
yeah, like we're thinking about getting them bikes or like rollerblades or skateboards, something
Yeah.
like on that stream.
But something to do outside or, for the summer.
100%, much more like
But
that.
not like, but I've seen actual presents and they're wrapped and, gift bags involved. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this is not Christmas and don't make it Christmas.
Yeah, I've seen some crazy ones where it was like, I can't even think of it, but it was like toy upon toy upon toy.
Yeah,
Like,
and it shouldn't be
less
electronics.
chocolate.
Yeah.
Less chocolate.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I do a little go overboard with the chocolate.
Yeah, it's easy to
100%.
do that though.
Because we still have, I think, some Easter candy in the Easter basket from last year. So it didn't help because we did do a community Easter egg hunt, which it got way more than I was thinking.
Oh, okay.
And then and then I ran, so we did the Easter egg hunt, and then I told Anna to stay with the kids. I booked it back to our house, literally on foot running.
Okay, yeah.
Had to take my inhaler. then got the hunt ready for us at our place.
And they got home and you're like, okay, Easter
He's doing. He's just
here.
Look at him. I think he even had a note like he left a note. Woo!
I didn't have time to talk because I couldn't breathe.
I said, I missed the egg hunt. My mom did an egg hunt and a few small gifts. Yeah, that's what we usually did growing
Yeah.
up, and that's what I do with my kids.
Yeah.
One year we went to Mexico, and that was a big thing. Oh, Mexico, fancy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I went away somewhere Disney for
Oh.
Christmas, which I think threw me off. I told them, like, we're never doing that. I don't want to be somewhere where it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't always snow here, but it has to be
Yeah.
somewhere cold.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like the idea of a tropical tree with
I hear that.
ornaments.
I mean, I went to California a couple of years ago, and it was beautiful. And they really only get rain about 3 days a year.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's always beautiful and sunny, always. And it was very nice weather. And I like before I went to California, I was like, no, I want the 4 seasons. I want snow. But I could see once I was in California why people would stay there.
Because it's so nice.
It is so nice.
I guess it is nice to
And
have
it
the
does
warmth.
sort of seduce you. And you're like,
Seduce you. Wow.
I could get used to a palm tree instead of a pine tree.
Oh, well, I guess. I mean, especially when the weather is like how it is right now.
Yeah.
Not fun.
But I mean, I know I could probably only do that for a few years and then I'd want some snow.
Yeah.
I
couldn't stay away from snow forever.
No, me
Except
neither.
for once I get old and then it gets really into my bones. And then maybe I'd be like, then I'll be one
Maybe
of
you
those.
take me to the drier
Yeah.
Arizona deserts.
Yeah, exactly. Then I'll live out my life there.
What do they call it? It's a dry heat.
Dry heat.
Yes.
I've heard I've never had a dry heat. I've heard it's much better than humid heat, which is all we have.
Yeah, that's all Kingston gets is wet heat.
Wet, humid.
Humid. It's not the heat.
It wasn't
it's the
too bad
humidity.
last year. Who
No,
knows?
we actually had a pretty good year last
So
year.
we got spoiled. I'm really nervous how this one will go.
Yeah, because I'm always like, my fibro flares in
The humidity.
In the humidity.
The humidity.
Yeah.
The humanity.
Doesn't do me any favors.
Couldn't do Disney. I'm terrified of mascots. I've heard that's a common one, being afraid. I mean,
I can
when you
see
do have a
that.
giant thing coming at you, I mean,
Giant
that is
goofy.
not human.
Yeah.
That is terrifying.
I didn't know mice could get that big.
My dogs get excited with snow. Makes me drive to Jasper Mountains to play in the deep snow. Yeah.
Yeah, what kind of dogs do you have? Because there's certain breeds that love
I
the
know,
snow.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I told you about the mom at the bus stop. She has a Great Pyrenees mix. And of course, he loved the snow because
Yeah.
they love the snow.
Great Pyrenees used to guard the French king.
Did they?
Yeah. Yeah. So they're good guardian dogs.
Yeah, I can see that.
I always had to tell people because when I was doing tarot readings, I was doing them from home at first.
I remember that, yeah.
And I would always have to tell people because I had Lucy, my Great Pyrenees, to not look at her, don't smile at her, Just
Don't acknowledge her.
well, just let her sniff you, and I would guide the customer to the table, and of course Lucy would be right here going, "Hey," but
once she deemed you safe,
yeah,
then you could pet her.
she usually had to smell your purse.
Oh, they have a Great Pyrenees and a Husky.
Oh,
yeah,
both snow lovers.
I was saying we're very familiar with Great Pyrenees.
Yes, yeah. I love the bigger breeds.
I know. The mom at the bus stop. It's named it's Butterball, but they call it Butters. it's very fitting name though, because they're telling me he slips into small cracks really easily.
Oh, okay.
Because I guess there's like a spot in there underneath their stairs, and it was a bigger hole.
Yeah.
And he kept going under there because I guess there was like bunny poop or whatever. Something to do with bunnies. So he was eating things he shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And so they ended up boarding up, and they had like the smallest space. And he was a big boy because it's Great Pyrenees.
Yeah, they're not
and
small.
It's even, I'm pretty sure he's mixed. He doesn't seem like
full
purebred. But he was apparently he slipped right in, no problem. And it's like Butters apparently is a very fitting name for Butters. He's a slippery little bugger. In Alberta, you need a doggo that can handle the winters. Yeah, 100. In Alberta, you would.
It gets hit hard.
Say we're pretty fortunate. We're on Ontario, so it's not. It doesn't get too. I mean, we're not.
We get hit with snow and stuff.
We do get hit, but it's not
ice storms and whatnot.
Yeah,
so we're not unfamiliar.
But it's not.
But Alberta has its own weather system.
Yeah, and it's not Ottawa, which gets so much colder where we are.
Oh. Yeah, and Alberta, it's not for the faint of heart.
No. More rain. We do get a lot of rain near the end of winter.
Yeah.
So now from like March until like probably May.
We were talking about how Mother Nature goes into her schizophrenia stage.
Yeah.
Because she'll start out
snowing,
and then
rain, and then hail.
She'll do some hail, and then
snow again,
and then she'll be sunny.
And then it'll be like really nice for like.
And we'll all come out, and then thunderstorms start.
Yeah, and then she tricks you. She makes you come in like, oh, it's so beautiful. Got you.
Exactly.
Hail, snow, rain.
Exactly.
It's been bipolar there too. Yeah. I can't tell if it's just like that's how weather is, or if it's global warming, and I think it's a mix.
I think it's a mix. Yeah.
And how much worse is it going to get?
Yeah.
If we don't fix everything.
Yeah. Although when we all went home for the lockdowns, Mother Nature was starting to clear herself up.
Honestly, we should just do a lockdown every half of the year. Like one half of the year we lock ourselves down, and the other half we come back out.
Yeah. We should learn how to hibernate.
Out riding my motorbike, and then it snows, and then it melts in a day, and then rains, and then it snows.
Yes.
100%. I know when I was at the hairstylist, they had like a big window, and like in the time that we were there, it snowed, and then sun, and then it rained, and then hail, and then it snowed, and then sun. And it snowed and then hailed.
It's like, make up your fucking mind.
We were only there for like a couple of hours. The weather has changed so drastically in the 2 hours.
We've gone from winter through to summer and back to winter again.
Right? You can't trust the sun.
No.
As soon as it's out, you're like, oh, it's basically as soon as you think, oh, it looks so nice out. It seems like it's going to stay. Let's go out.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you step out, it's like, and no.
I wonder if the trees get confused. Okay, let the sun run. Nope, freeze it up again. Oh, let it run. Nope, freeze up again.
The trees talk to themselves, so they know. See, because they'll see the thing coming. The other trees tell other ones.
True.
And so they close up shop.
And they'll be like, oh, she's at it again.
Oh, I feel bad for construction guys and concrete. Yeah, concrete guys. Yeah.
Yeah,
that would be a bitch.
Yeah. Definitely.
I agree. I know someone who pours concrete, and they're like, oh. I think he just said he was going to start up.
Okay.
Again, because it's starting to warm up now.
Right.
He's been off. Of course, Chris, you can't really pour concrete in the winter.
Yeah, and the ground's a lot harder to dig into. I mean, I know they've got machines that.
It won't settle right too, right? Because it will freeze before it actually dries, and then
then you end up with potholes.
And then you have, oh my god, and like all the potholes they filled just before the snow and winter came.
Yeah,
they all have lifted.
Yeah,
it's
why
like,
do it
why,
then?
I'm like also like, why does it look worse? Like, why is it worse? Like, I get like obviously winter's hard on the roads and stuff, but like it's like it feels like 10 times worse. Like how's one winter make it 10 times worse?
Yeah, exactly. Because like I was coming out of my main road,
Mm.
and there's a lot of school buses and kids, so you
Yeah.
go slow on that road before
And
you
I
get
hate
onto
your
me.
damn speed bumps.
Oh, the speed bumps
They
are super high, but right before you get to the lights where I'm about to turn, and I'm slowing down because it's a red light,
yeah.
but my car literally goes boom, boom into a
Oh
pothole.
my god.
Luckily, I was going really slow, but it was like, man, that's a lot deeper than it looked. It's like-
They really are. Well, even like I was driving Alicia home yesterday, and like it wasn't even a pothole. It's just like they were doing construction, and something went wrong with the road. And it's like as if they tried to fix it, but it goes like whoop, and you don't really notice until you get there because it's all the same color.
Right,
And then I'm
yes,
like,
yes.
whoa, and then I'm like, why are we going down? And then you hear, and I'm like, oh, that's so great.
And why are we going back up again?
It's like love that sound on the bottom of my car.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
happy for
Oh,
that.
it's so great.
Alberta's a constant fix on the yeah, it's a constant fix on the road, honestly.
Hmm.
It's like here too. The roads
Yeah.
are terrible.
They're not Roman roads. There's still Roman roads being used in Europe
They should
today.
do that here. That's Ina's biggest gripe. He's like, there's someone out there who knows how to build a road that
Yeah,
stays.
they do.
He's like,
They do.
it's a conspiracy theory from construction companies.
100%.
He's like,
100%.
he's totally like, it's them. They're doing
They're
it.
greasing the politicians to say, hey, we're just going to slap something on your road so we have to do it all over again next year and increase the budget. And
Some videos of potholes are scary. That's what I felt
yes.
like when I'm on my bike. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
there's
think
some
we
of them
got.
are swimming pools.
I think we got like the best roads in the world for like top three or five. Oh, I feel like Ontario has like the worst.
Yeah, and Kingston was voted one of the worst cities for potholes.
Yeah. Oh,
And we're the worst drivers too. Not
Yeah.
me or her,
Yeah, sure.
but everyone else.
Everyone else. We are not part of that statistic.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm gonna say I'm not always perfect,
Well,
but I'm still a
we were
learner.
number 3 for the most dangerous city to drive in.
Well, I can believe that people are. I think it's also because we have a lot of older population, and there's so many people who shouldn't be driving that are still driving.
Right. Don't let the olds on the road.
No, no, it's not that, but like some of them, it's just like you're not as fast. Your eyesight might be going. I don't think they get tests like
Yeah,
It's
no.
not-
I
it's
mean,
not
my
like-
grandma was driving into her 80s. I know.
Yeah, I don't
possibly
think it's.
her
I'm not
90s.
trying to blanket say,
But
I
she
think
had to
it's
go
just
in
a
for
higher.
a test every year.
Yeah.
I think it's once you hit 75
I don't remember.
I'm
I
not
think it
sure.
should be. Yeah.
that you have to go in every year and just do a little, like,
I
it's not
think-
a full test, but it's a bit of a test
Yeah.
just to make sure.
I'm not trying to
Your
blanket
start
statement because I
sharp.
know it's other people too. But you
Yeah.
oftentimes when I see like something really dangerous and reckless, it's just like some older person that wasn't being aware, or maybe they couldn't see, or they weren't responding fast enough.
Right,
And then
right.
it's like, okay, maybe you
Or they're
should-
really slow and changing the lane. You're like, what are you doing,
I
Grandpa?
had an older lady who, while we were at a stoplight trying to go into the lane, while I'm actively, I'm like, what do you mean?
Excuse me,
I was
I'm
like,
right here.
I can't move anywhere because if I move, I hit a car because we're all stopped.
Right, right.
So I don't know why we're trying to change lanes now.
Yeah. I saw someone, was it yesterday or the day before? It was a couple days ago. Change lanes in the intersection, which is a huge no-no.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, he was
You
going
don't
through
do
the
that.
light and he
There's
started.
a whole reason why there's no lines.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what are you doing, buddy?
You just
What
go
are you doing?
cross. You go across.
You go across,
and then you change.
Then you can change. And like, I know Kingston's notorious for car blocking. We
Oh.
will not let people in.
No.
I sometimes don't call it car blocking. I call it something else. Also starts with a C. You can figure out the rest. But yeah, Kingstonians are notorious for that. That's one of their things that their reputation
Yeah, I can
is.
see that. I always
That
try.
and the stop signs are just suggestions.
Oh my god, the number of times people, especially in our neighborhood, and we have so many kids go through, and I don't really like it because now that it's getting nicer, our one street
Well,
people
you got
go whizzing
you
by.
and your neighbors all have those slow down kids playing signs
well,
everywhere.
Yeah, because there's a trifecta, so there's a house on each corner, and each of them have kids, and all of our kids play together.
And
so
the
we're
park is right there
And the
across
park's
the
right
street.
there, so everyone's crossing.
Yeah.
And people, there's literally you have to stop on each end because one's a turn and the other's a turn. So there's a short spot, but people still decide to go as fast
They
as
should
they
almost
can.
put a crosswalk to the park.
I want them to put like a speed bump or something.
Yeah, speed
Because
bump would be
even
good.
though it's annoying, because it'd be basically right in front of my house, I'm like, I'd rather that.
Yeah.
Because at least now I know my kids won't have to
Because some of those
stress.
cars zip by pretty
Well,
fast.
there's one time I got really scared because Annabelle was crossing the street, and then there was this truck that clearly didn't stop at the stop sign and just turned and was going super fast. Like, not only are you in a truck,
Yeah.
so your blind spots are higher
Yeah.
because you can't see as farther down,
Yeah.
and you're going super
And
fast.
Annabelle's just little.
She's tiny. She's not
So,
super big.
yeah.
Oh my god! He saw me. I was like, he saw
Yeah.
me being like shaking my head. I was this close to giving him the middle finger. I was pissed off.
You were just like, yeah, stop and try me.
Yeah, I will take you down. You want to take my kid out? I will take you down.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my goodness.
Oh, they have an unruly amount of speed and light cameras. They're doing more of that in Kingston. They're putting up more of those. There's supposed to be one coming on King's Court where we live, and by the high school, I think, as well.
Oh, okay.
I think they said it's supposed to be coming up soon. Because when I saw it, thinking, I was like, oh, geez, that's coming up. But
More
I remember
Big
not to
Brother.
speed. More Big Brother. I mean, if it stops cars from speeding around children, I'm not that opposed to it. But I've heard sometimes
Or
they
at
can be
least
pretty
it tickets
sensitive
them for doing
doing
the
it,
bad
and then
act.
eventually, hopefully, once they get enough tickets, they'll be like, okay, better stop.
Well,
'cause
going through a stop sign is not, or stop light is not cheap as far as
No.
a fine goes. I mean, it's not like $400.
does nothing. I bet that. Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
It's because we don't have enough police. I mean, that's I think a problem across the board. There's not enough police officers. So there's not enough of them
The manpower too.
to watch everything. Because
Yeah.
we used to have cops that would sit like in front of our house because then they could watch the stop signs and catch people who went stop.
Nice.
Because a lot of people jumped. But I haven't seen that in a really long time because they don't have the manpower for it anymore.
Wow, that's too bad.
So unfortunately, because it was nice when the cop was there. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of cops, but
You know, you felt safer.
I felt safer. I knew at least, okay, no cars are speeding around here.
Yeah, exactly. And no one's breaking into your house.
Yeah.
Right in front of a
Exactly. Right? There's a lot of positives.
Yeah, exactly. Or if they are, they're really dumb.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'm like, then you were meant to be caught, and you like I can't help you. Here it's a money grab for whoever gets the money and the lights. It doesn't go back into the town. Sadly, if people said that, that's supposed to be a
Yeah.
bit of a money grab.
Yeah.
Because I think where was it that
Fill
they
in the quotas.
was it? It was Ottawa or Toronto. Where was it they did? It was Ottawa, wasn't it? That it first started, or somewhere else?
Oh, I'm not sure.
I can't remember. Somewhere around Toronto, maybe
Oh,
they did.
yeah.
They did the lights.
Yeah.
and they were saying the same thing. It's like it doesn't
Go
it's
back
just,
into the town.
it doesn't. Well, no, well, not so that I think, but also it's just like a money grab. It doesn't really help that thing. It doesn't really do anything, and the money doesn't really get like. It's not like, oh well, now we're getting all this money, so now we can fix all the potholes.
Right,
You know,
right.
like-
We have better roads, and therefore we won't speed.
Yeah, I feel like if we have better roads, you're more likely to speed. Because when the ride is smooth, I can go up there and I'm like, I am going 10 clicks
Don't
over.
fix the roads with the ticket money.
Yeah.
So don't make them speed more. Hang on. Let's do that
Yeah.
so that they do speed more and
It's
get more
true.
money.
Ha 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 ha.
Ha, ha, ha.
It's an evil plan. More conspiracy theories.
Exactly. But we should probably wrap it up
I think so.
because I have a tarot reading coming up soonish.
Yes.
So thank you very much for being here.
Yeah.
All the
thanks.
comments. It
Yeah,
was great.
and thanks for listening to us go from relationships to being
potholes.
a Karen to potholes
Yes,
and
exactly.
groceries and
Yeah,
all
we
over.
Did the full circle.
Yeah.
The whole gamut.
And have a great rest of your week and weekend. You
Yeah.
made 50 million in 1 year. Holy cannolis.
Wow, that is a money grab.
Okay, I'm gonna set my own and then issue my own tickets.
There you go.
New business plan.
Exactly.
Yes, I think you'll need to. I need to clean the gutters. Oh yes,
Yeah,
I want
there
to do
you
that
go.
now with all the rain coming up soon. I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, bye everyone.
Bye. Have a great week.
Yeah.